Hey guys, it's Alexa, and you're watching Titanic. Wouldn't it be amazing to have absolutely no budget at all and be able to swipe your card everywhere you go and not have to worry about the repayments every month? We can only dream, right? The following people, however, don't need to dream about it. They can just do it, but they choose or choose not to. Here are billionaires who prefer to not part with their hard-earned money. Number 17. Leona Helmsley. Meet the New York hotel baroness who earned the nickname the Queen of Mean. She was well known for being a regular Scrooge. She was once quoted as saying, "We don't pay taxes. Only the little people pay taxes," and she was known for taking kickbacks, cooking the books, cheating on her sales, and a whole list of other misdemeanors. She even spent 18 months in jail for all of her deceit. At one point in time, she had 8 people suing her at once. Donald Trump even had some business dealings with her, and he was quoted as saying, "I can feel sorry for my worst enemy, but I can't feel sorry for Leona Helmsley." She left $12 million to her dog when she passed in 2007. Number 16. Mark Zuckerberg. With a net worth of $62.8 billion, you'd think that the CEO and founder of Facebook would be driving around in a pretty sweet car, but that's not the case at all. Mark Zuckerberg drives a $30,000 car. He could literally drive a new Ferrari every single day if he wanted, but he loves his Volkswagen GTI with manual transmission. He didn't even have a lavish wedding to long-term girlfriend Priscilla Chan, and they indulged in McDonald's while on their honeymoon in Italy. Number 15. Charlie Chaplin. Reports suggest that this silent movie icon was also rather silent when it came to forking out his cash. In 1916, he was earning in the region of $10,000 every week, which is roughly $219,000 in today's value. Chaplin conveniently never had any money on him, and he always left the bill to his friends. Perhaps he felt that they should be paying for the honor of dining with him. Marlon Brando said he was quote-unquote an egotistical tyrant and a penny pincher, and Orson Welles affirmed that by saying that Chaplin was the cheapest man who ever lived. He was also said to hire movie set carpenters to construct his own home in Beverly Hills, which earned the nickname Breakaway House as it was so flimsy and it would break so often. Number 14. Warren Buffett. This is a name that is familiar to most people, and he takes the number 3 spot for the 3rd richest person in the world with a net worth of $87 billion. You'd think he would live lavishly, but he doesn't. He still lives in the same house that he purchased in 1958 for $31,000. Described as one of the wisest and most frugal billionaires around, Buffett doesn't have a PC at his desk, doesn't carry a cell phone, and even had a license plate labeled thrifty. Randomly, his diet consists of loads of Coca-Cola and chips, which is ironic because he could have a chef prepare gourmet meals 3 times every day. Number 13. Carlos Slim Helu. This is the founder of Grupo Carso, which is a Mexican global conglomerate company. Slim hasn't moved home in more than 40 years, despite having a net worth of $62.7 billion. He would rather pump his billions back into the economy, and he was explained to Reuters that wealth was very much like an orchard. What you have to do is make it grow, reinvest to make it bigger, or diversify into other areas. He drives an old Mercedes, and even when things are going well, he ensures his companies don't waste and splurge. He doesn't deny himself everything, though, and does like to dabble in fine arts in memory of his late wife. Number 12. Jon Codd. This is the co-founder of Phones for You, and he's lucky he's worth a few billion because he had to recently pay out £500,000 to an ex-employee for unfair dismissal. Look, in terms of wealth, he's only worth a paltry $2.4 billion, so maybe he has to cycle the 14 miles to work every day. He trims his own hair and is known to purchase his clothes straight off the rack at Marks & Spencer. Number 11. John F. Kennedy. When you think of Kennedy, you have this vision of a guy who lived life freely, splurged on whatever he wanted, and didn't worry about what he spent his cash on. We'd love to say it was hard-earned, but his father left him $170 million in a trust fund. Despite all that cash, he didn't like to part with any of it. He was quite comfortable to leave the tab to whomever, friends, dates, Secret Service agents, it didn't matter. He and his first lady would often squabble about her spending habits, but despite all that, he was also known for being very generous with money and was said even once to donate his entire salary to charity. Number 10. Charlie Ergen. He's worth a whopping $10.6 billion, yet Charles Ergen still packs his lunch for work every single day when he heads to Dish Network Corporation, of which he is founder and chairman. Every day he packs a sandwich and a Gatorade, and he says he saves a ton of money doing that. He and his wife have lived in the same house for more than 20 years, and it's only in the last few years that he's eased up on his original policy of colleagues sharing hotel rooms when traveling for business. He was quoted as telling the Financial Times, "My mom grew up in the Depression. I don't have a mahogany desk." Number 9. J. Paul Getty. His worth today would have been in the region of $25.8 billion. This English-American industrialist founded the Getty Oil Company and was once said to be the wealthiest man in America. Don't get us wrong, he loved his money and enjoyed the high life, but he wasn't particularly fond of parting with it. He would always book the most affordable rooms at hotels, installed a payphone in his mansion in London so staff would have to pay for their own calls, although he told people it wasn't his home and that he put the payphone in to protect the interests of shareholders. A likely story. Number 8. Amancio Ortega. Here's a gentleman that's worth around $64 billion, and that's because he's the founder of and former chairman of Inditex Fashion Group, which may not ring a bell, but it's their Zara brand that will definitely have you recognizing them now. He's a very private individual and enjoyed eating with his employees in the Zara headquarters cafeteria. He and his wife would always go to the same little coffee shop. He enjoyed low-key living in his La Coruña apartment and also wears the same blue blazer, white shirt, and gray trousers every day. Don't be totally fooled though, he does own a Bombardier private jet valued at $45 million, although he's so busy working he hardly ever uses it. Number 7. Jim C. Walton. This is the youngest son of Sam Walton, the man who can be credited with the hugely successful Walmart retail stores. Jim is worth $41.9 billion, and yet still drives his old Dodge Dakota. The entire family are said to buy second-hand vehicles and never splurge on name-brand clothing. Number 6. David Cheriton. You can learn a few handy hints from Cheriton, who's the founder of Arista Networks, a computer networking company located in California. Cheriton often tells of food being a huge source of wasted money and is well known for reusing his tea bags. This multi-billionaire also never finishes his meal in a restaurant and saves half of it for his meal the following day. He opts to ride his bike as opposed to buying luxury cars, and when he has to drive, he happily uses his 1986 Volkswagen van or an old Honda sedan. His wardrobe consists of mainly jeans, and he shuns any designer clothing. Number 5. Cary Grant. One of Hollywood's leading men, especially during the 40s and 50s, Grant came from very modest and humble beginnings in England and just couldn't wrap his head around spending money despite having loads of it. Not only was he wealthy due to his own income, but he was also married to a very rich woman, Barbara Hutton, Woolworth dime store heiress. Tales will tell you that he would mark his milk bottles in the fridge so that staff couldn't steal any of it. Any house guests were billed if they did laundry at his home, and he charged people 25 cents for his autograph, saying it went to charity, but it doesn't really seem like it made it that far. He was said to cut off buttons of old shirts and keep them should a button fall off of a new shirt. Number 4. Ingvar Kamprad. This legendary man is the founder of IKEA, the world's largest furniture retailer since 2008. Born in Sweden, Kamprad's net worth at one stage was $39.3 billion. When he was still around, he would always fly economy class and would often take the bus. He'd eat his lunch in the IKEA cafeteria and drove a decades-old Volvo. When he really started making money in the 60s, he did splurge a little on a Porsche and some snazzy suits, but that phase didn't last long. His last days were spent in his one-story ranch home in Sweden. Number 3. Azim Premji. Let us introduce you to Azim Premji, the chairman of Wipro, an Indian Information Technology Services Corporation headquartered in Bengaluru. He's worth around $17 billion, but you'd never know it because he loves to drive around in his second-hand car and always reminds his staff to turn off the lights to save electricity. He's been labeled the bare-bones billionaire. Some have jokingly said he makes Uncle Scrooge look like Father Christmas. He's been spotted hopping on a rickshaw for a ride home from the airport and is said to limit the amount of toilet paper his employees use at work. Number 2. Hetty Green. She had a knack for investing and quickly became the richest woman in America in her day. This is Hetty Green. In today's worth, she would have had around $2 billion in the bank. Now, if history is to be believed, Green was as frugal as they come. She earned the nickname the Witch of Wall Street and always dressed in black. If she needed medical help, she would don her shabbiest black outfit and head to the free clinic and would use a false name to avoid payment. She lived in cheap rental apartments and was known to haggle with waiters over the prices and then order something really inexpensive. She would heat her oatmeal and water using the heat of a radiator. Number 1. Judy Faulkner. This is the founder of Epic Systems, and she's worth $3.8 billion. Judy Faulkner launched this private healthcare company in 1979 with an investment of just $70,000, and they sell medical record software. She's never been big on spending, and in the past 15 years has only owned 2 cars. She and her husband have stayed in the same house for 30 years, and has been known to give generously. She's part of the Giving Pledge, and has promised to donate half her money to charity. She said in her letter, "I never had any personal desire to be a wealthy billionaire living lavishly, and assures that instead she'll help others to get food, warmth, shelter, healthcare, and education." Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you learned anything new, let us know in the comments below, and remember to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more daily content.